Hello YouTube, my name is Paul, hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to another pickup video. And yeah, Merry Christmas. I mean, it's amazing how flipping long it takes to get to Christmas and how fast it all happens really. I mean, from a commercial aspect, it's flipping been and gone about 8 o'clock in the morning, isn't it? Obviously, if you're sort of into it from a religious aspect, obviously it goes on for a few more days yet. But yeah, it's amazing. It just comes and goes, isn't it? You stuff your face, you drink, you flipping spend like the remainder of your time off work just feeling absolutely bloated and tired and hungover, whatever else you do. Which gives you plenty of opportunity, I suppose, to sit down and play a few video games. But yeah, I didn't get a lot Christmas-related, retro-related Christmas items because it's not the sort of thing that I want for Christmas. Because all year round I get loads of retro stuff, so it's quite nice to have something a bit different. For Christmas. Now I've got Death Stranding Collector's Edition, which I've yet to even open, to be honest, and give it a go. I mean, I'm still playing Red Dead Redemption, which I've had now for about 14 months. I know, it's crazy, man. But yeah, so the pickup videos in this particular video stem across multiple formats. We've got Atari, Spectrum, Commodore 64, Amstrad, ST, Amiga, and a return of the Mega Drive. Now the Mega Drive, like I said previously, over the last sort of 2 or 3 years, I've sold off quite a few games. So my quest for the next 12 months really is to pick most of those back up again. And maybe a few titles I've never had before. I think 2 of those titles, well, at least one of those titles I think is in this video. So yeah, so first up is the Atari games that I've picked up. Now 2 of these games I would have played before, many years ago, at a neighbour's place. And one of them I always wanted to get hold of but never got around to it. So the first game I'm going to show you is a game I never really enjoyed as a kid. And I think it's like those isometric games you used to get on the Sinclair Spectrum. The controls are weird because there's an isometric kind of angle to it. So when you pushed up, it didn't necessarily mean you're going up. It meant you're going right or diagonal, whatever. And this particular game confused the crap out of me. That's Q*bert. And I think I enjoyed this game more recently than I did as a kid. Not a bad arcade conversion as well, actually. A game I've been after for absolutely ages. This one was quite reasonably priced, about £7. You can see a bit of concaving. Maybe you can't because there's a lot of light reflecting there. And it's also got a bit of sun fading on the old corners there with the Q*bert label. But yeah, I will get a replacement for this, no doubt about it. But this particular copy only cost me about £7 including post. So as soon as I saw it come up, I snapped it up. But the thing with sellers, they don't really highlight stuff like that. It's not until you get it home that you realise actually there is some kind of damage to the box. A bit more than you expect anyway. Next up is a game I picked up as part of a bundle. I bought this bundle for £52. Guy messaged me to say the Atari didn't work, or he couldn't get it to work on his modern system. Would I accept half the money back? I was like, yeah, no worries. And they'll send me the games on for £26. I think there was about between 10 and a dozen games, which makes 11. It's either 10, 11 or 12 games, I don't remember, in this particular bundle. This particular game I've been after for a bloody long time. That's Dig Dug. Again, nothing fancy, nothing special. A nice cheap to pick up game. I remember playing a clone of this on my friend's Commodore 16 called Tutti Frutti, and that was a really good game. This is very simplistic. How close is this to the arcade? I don't know. I don't think I've ever played it in the arcade before. But the game itself seemed pretty basic. I played it for about 5 minutes. I thought it was okay. It's one of those games I reckon, though, that I'll probably get bored of quite quickly. Now, it comes complete with this cartridge and instructions, which is always good. Again, like I said, if it's about £2, between £2 and £2.50 for it, it's not a bad little price, is it? Those silver label cartridges are so nostalgic to me because some of the first games we ever got on our Atari back in '82 were silver labelled games like Miss Pac-Man and Vanguard. So yeah, I do like the silver games, the silver box art and all the rest of it. Silver box art, silver livery, that's more like it, because of its nostalgia. So yeah, it's Dig Dug, so great to have that in the collection. And the final game I'm going to show you on the Atari is a game I've been after for a long time, and I think I've mentioned it before in a video. Again, the same neighbour who had Q*bert also had this next game. That game is called Kaboom. Frantic game, like most Activision games that I own. They start off nice and gentle, and before you know it, it's going absolutely ballistic. But yeah, I used to play this game years ago with a joystick and not a paddle controller, which probably meant I made it more difficult for myself. But it is recommended you do play with a paddle controller, which makes perfect sense. This particular game set me back about 15 quid from somebody who lives not that far away from me. In fact, this kind person posted it through my letterbox, so I was quite happy with that. There we have the old cartridge there. It's going through that process with the glue starting to do what that glue kind of does, really. It doesn't look very nice. Some of these bloody Activision cartridges look awful because of it. Someone did describe that process to me in the comments, but went over my head. There we go. And I think there's a nice little catalogue in here. Very rare you get like a complete game with the catalogues and everything else. But when you do get them, it's a nice surprise. But yeah, with the Atari, there's not really much else I want. I think on my list I've got about 5 games. That is it. Like I said, I've always wanted to get about 40 to 50 games. I think I'm on about 42 now. Oh, what's that? A 1-year warranty card. I just fell out the flipping manual. But yeah, it's not many more I want on the Atari. And hopefully I can get those during the course of 2020. Then that'll be it. That'll be it for me. I'm not sure how many games got released on the Atari. I've got a feeling it's about, I want to say 350 on sort of the PAL systems anyway. And most of those games no one would have ever heard of before. I don't think. I think there's probably about 100 games that are quite familiar, then the rest are just really obscure. That's it. Now let's go over to the good stuff. Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Now I've almost got everything I need or want or desire for my ZX Spectrum collection, especially from a nostalgic point of view. There's a few games left to get, just a handful of games that I remember had fantastic graphics in the magazines but never played them. So I will be picking those up during the course of the year. The Ocean Software collection was 3 titles missing. I've managed to secure 2 more. Again, through the kindness of the community, really. Well, one of them is, and one of them was a Facebook purchase, which leaves me with just 1. So I'm going to share that one that I need. I think I've done it before, so why not do it again? Just in case someone stumbles across it at house clearance or something. That game is Tank. That's the only one I'm missing on the ZX Spectrum Ocean collection now. I don't expect it to be cheap because it's one of the hardest games to get on that particular in that particular set. I also got it on the Amstrad as well. And the Amstrad one I've had for quite some time now. I've got it on Amstrad disc and Commodore cassette, so I would love to get it on the ZX Spectrum, and that'll be it. That'll be my Ocean collection finished. So yeah, with the Spectrum, there's not really a lot left I want to get apart from the Hit Squad titles, which I think there's about a dozen titles left to pick up, which obviously I'll elaborate on that in the Hit Squad video. So yeah, so some of the Spectrum games I've got then, 2 of them are nostalgic, 2 of them I would have had years ago. One of them was a very late release and quite surprising, it even got a release on the ZX Spectrum. There's quite a few games I'm quite interested in that came out sort of 1992-93 that I'd like to get on the Specky. But besides that, that's pretty much it. Now, the first game I'm going to show you for the ZX Spectrum then is a game, I remember it well. I think I had it, but I don't know if I had it as like a copied tape or what. If I did buy it brand new, I don't have any recollection of it at all. That's Atari Warriors. I picked this up as part of a bundle ages ago. I can't even remember what I paid for it now. No, I didn't pick it up as a bundle. I think I picked up 3 games from the same seller. That's probably what it was. A game, I don't mind these sort of Commando clone games. Don't mind them at all. They're not bad. This particular one's got, yeah, I don't know if I like it that much. I'll be honest with you. It's not a bad game. It probably looks a lot better on the 16-bit machines, as you'd expect, and probably plays better too. The Specky version's okay. I can't get very far in it. I can't get used to toggling between sort of strafing or just walking around the screen normally. I'd rather it was just one or the other, really. I much prefer playing games like Commando or Rambo 2 than playing this. Don't know what it is. I really honestly don't know. I've never liked this game a lot, even back in the day. But it's nostalgic. I had it, and the artwork's not bad. And to be honest, it's quite a decent conversion. It's not because it's a crap Spectrum port over. I don't think I would like the arcade game either, to be honest. Not to that degree. It's okay. So pleased to get that back in the collection again. I reckon that cost me about £5, I would say. And the next game I'm going to show you came from the same seller. But it's a game I had. A game that was really hyped up in 1988. I remember the arcade. I remember the guys in school talking about the arcade all the flipping time. So my hype came from that rather than the actual playing the arcade. I think I saw the arcade in action but never played it. And when I got the specky version, I've got to be honest, I thought it was okay. That's Double Dragon. Yes. A lot of people would slate this game. I thought it looked good. It's very recognisable from the arcade as being sort of Double Dragon. But it just lacked a lot of sound. There was no atmosphere in it. You just had the odd strange squeaking noise when you hit a girl, or whatever kind of strange noise came out of the bloke's mouth. I can't remember, but it's just, yeah, it wasn't particularly great. I liked the games. I played it to completion, so I must have liked it. It does come with a sort of insert, but I've turned it inside out as I always do, just to protect it really. I think it's just a Melbourne House insert. Oh no, it's not, it's just black. There we go. Why do I think it said a Melbourne House on it? But yeah, so I quite like this game, I've got to be honest with you. It just lacked any atmosphere. That's the only gripe I got with it. It was in colour, which was impressive, even though the colours are rather garish. There we go, Melbourne House. Yeah, I liked it. Like, I think it got, like in single user, I think they gave it like 55% and really slated it. But when I played the arcade version sort of over the last couple of years, to be honest, I don't think it's a bad game. I think Double Dragon as an arcade game's dated quite a bit. That's my personal view. So yeah, that's Double Dragon. Next up is a game which I never knew got a specky release. I've got to be honest. And the first time I come across this game, it was part of a bundle. I think I picked up, which I resold most of it. But I kept this particular game, box and instructions only, which I sold later on. I think for like 20 quid. Then this copy came up as buy it now for £10, so I snapped it up. Too right, because it's complete. And it's Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2 on a bloody ZX Spectrum, can you believe it? It's in decent condition. I kept the best elements from both boxes. I saw another copy sell not long afterwards for £70, so it's clearly quite a desirable title. When you see it moves very slowly. You can recognise it's Street Fighter 2. Graphically, it looks really good, albeit in monochrome. But yeah, it's not bad at all, really. You can see why the Spectrum died off, really. Just could not handle these kinds of games. And the loading is unbelievable. I don't know if you can see the tape in there. Look at that. And I think it's a multi-loader even on a 128. So I don't know if this ever got a +3 release. If it did, you were probably very lucky. But it's a very late release. I think it got reviewed in a very late issue of Sinclair User. So yeah, I managed to pick up some Sinclair User magazines quite recently. I think I picked up the third and fourth to last magazines, and then it was games like Crystal Kingdom Dizzy, I think that got a review in one of the sort of later ones as well. So I am quite interested in picking up a lot of the later released Spectrum titles, because to be honest, I didn't realise some of these games even got released on the Specky, and I picked up another 2 which I never realised got released on the Specky, which I'll show you in another video. So that is the 3 Specky games. So next up, trying to think what else I'm going to show you next. Probably be the Amstrad. Well, I'll show you the Amstrad games. Now, 2 of these were part of a bundle, and one of them was a game I picked up from France. Now, with Amstrad floppy disk games, I am going for a full set Ocean collection on that as well. Because when Ocean Software made games, they did actually make the effort to make each system have its own version of the game. It's one of those collections as well. When I started it, it was almost like, well, I've committed now, I might as well carry on. So all 3 of these are disc-based Ocean / Imagine titles. I've got no idea of a definitive list for that system. I've got no idea how many games got released on disc. I must have pushing 60 titles now. I think I've got another very hard to get one on the way, but it's on cassette, which I need to pick up from the sorting office. So the first one I'm going to show you is part of a bundle. This particular bundle I think cost me 170 quid. And I sold on all bar 2 games, and I got all my money back because these games, like I said, are quite desirable. And that's Daley Thompson's Olympic Challenge, which the Amstrad version actually looks really good. I used to have it on the Specky years ago, but the Amstrad equivalent, I've got to say, they made a really good effort with that. I'm pretty sure it's complete. It's got the instructions, it's got that massive wall chart, which is gigantic, and inside you've got the music cassette and a 3-inch disc. So yeah, really chuffed to have this. Again, a good game, not as good as the original Daley Thompson, but it's nice to have it in the collection. And that title music is really nostalgic to me. But again, the standalone game, you probably wouldn't expect to get more than about 10 quid for that. It's just one of those games that isn't really desirable. Now, I know Daley Thompson Super Test got a release on Amstrad disc, but I don't know if the original Decathlon did. Right, next up is a game I got. The game came up on eBay from France. I snapped it. I probably overpaid for it, but don't forget these games just do not appear. So you're sort of taking a risk, really. Are you going to pay too much for it, or are you going to let it go and never see it again? It's one of those sorts of things you got to make that decision on the spot, and lots of times I've hesitated and stuff. I've just gone without even, yeah, in seconds. That's Salamander. To be honest, the Amstrad conversion's pretty poor. I got it on a Specky, and I got it in a hit score on a Specky as well, and I found the Spectrum version moves at a faster pace. Now I think this one may have just been a simple conversion from the Specky, yeah, from the Specky version. Not a bad little game, but yeah, on the Amstrad it's flipping sluggish. Now this one cost me about 35 euros, I think. I remember seeing a +3 version go about a month before for about 15, so I obviously overpaid because the +3 equivalent is more difficult to get than its Amstrad counterpart, but I'm pleased to have it nonetheless. And the final one's another Imagine title from the same bundle I got Daley Thompson's from, and that game, really pleased to have it. It's one of my favourite sort of like slim case games, and that's Movie. Love it. Now, besides Super Test, maybe Miami Vice and Never Ending Stories was the only other one that I know of existed in this form. A lot of these games came out like this on the Commodore 64. Really good game if you can get into it. It's one of those, again, isometric games. You've got to get used to the controls first, because you're sort of going up and you're going right. It's a pain in the flipping arse. But I think you can in the options change it so the player's character rotates as opposed to going the wrong way. Or it seems like the wrong way. It's one of those games, again, you pick up objects and you use them to progress in the game. But I remember playing it on the Spectrum years ago. I don't say I got far in it. I played it enough to appreciate the game, but I really cannot be asked to try it at a minute, to be honest. But yeah, what you saw in the footage there is about the extent to what I played it. I think I walked into a room with 2 men trying to shoot me, so that was enough. That was Movie. So like I said, I've got Movie, Daley Thompson's, part of a big bundle, sold off the big bundle and recouped more than what I needed, well, to pay back for the bundle, really. So that was a bonus. But yeah, so next up is C64. Now, Commodore 64, again, I don't really have any goals for the C64. A lot of it is nostalgia driven. I do like my cartridge collection on the C64, especially the GS branded games, which I picked up another half a dozen. Now, I only just discovered recently, apart from Domark and Ocean, there was another company, a Spanish company, that released games with GS actually on the cartridges. So that's the sort of games I'm after, those GS branded games. Now, one of the games is reintroduced it back into the collection. I sold it about a year ago to raise some funds. The other one I never had before, and the other game I'm going to show you is a game that I remember really well back in sort of the mid-80s, really. And I loved it. I loved that particular character. So I'm going to show that particular character first, because I was really chuffed to get this game. Again, part of a bundle for 50 quid, which I kept all the games in that bundle because they were in fantastic condition. So that game is Ultimania. Just look at that VHS style case. Ultimania and Pyjamarama. That's old Wally Week, isn't it? Is his name Wally Week or something like that? But yeah, Ultimania, I played absolutely loads on the compilation. Compilation I showed you a little while ago, actually. I think it was a 10 mega hits. But yeah, look at that VHS cassette case. What a beast. But in the case, you got 2 cassettes. So yeah, really pleased to have this in this particular condition, because that alone can probably go for about 20 to 25 quid in that condition. So to get about 40 games for 50 quid was fantastic. Now, Ultimania is the one I played the most. Pyjamarama, I think I played it on a Spectrum. It's one of those games it's a platform where you just pick up the car parts, take it into the next screen and build the car. And it's very repetitive, but even the music's absolutely flipping a killer to listen to, because it just goes on and bloody on. But the game itself, for 1984, whenever it was I played it, was amazing. I loved it. Nowadays I do my head in. Just listen to that poxy music. Right, this game is being reintroduced back into the GS collection, and that's Robocop 2. I think it's the last game that I sold, left to pick up for that system. Unfortunately, it's not as good as the one I had, which was near mint. It's got a bloody hole in it, look. Right up there. They never advertise them, do they, in flipping eBay listings? But apart from that, it's all in nice condition. Again, a game I can't really play because it's flipping hard. But the Commodore 64 version looks a bit different and plays a bit different to the other versions that I've played. But still, brutally hard. This one I think only cost me 20 quid, so it's about the going rate I think for Robocop 2 on the GS. Now, besides all the Ocean games, Domark released 3 titles on the Commodore 64 and on the GS. Which is Badlands is the one I'm going to show you today. So I picked up a few of these the other day. Cost me quite a bit, to be honest. This one can go, well, if it's complete, it can go for about 70 quid. Mine, unfortunately, is not complete. Game I'm not really that, well, not really familiar with it. When I played it, it's not the sort of game I enjoy, I've got to be honest. One of those games, a bit like Super Sprint. Cartridge, a bit boring really, compared to those funky Ocean ones. But yeah, so I think I've got all 3 of these now. I've got another 2 to show you in another video. So it just leads me to get these dynamic games. I think there's Narco Police, which came out on the GS brand after the war, and Astro Marine Corps. I think all 3 of those games got a release for the GS. Now there's other games that I got for the GS by System 3. There's 2 of them that I've got, and there's 2 that supposedly got a release, but I've never seen them before. One is Last Ninja 3, and the other one is Vendetta. So if you know anything about any of those games, please let me know. It just saves me time looking for them if they never existed. But I know the dynamic games, I've seen 2 of them, seen 2 cartridges for that particular label. So that's it for the C64. Now, over to the Atari ST, bit of 16-bit stuff. Now I've got loads of ST and Amiga to show you, absolutely flipping loads, but to make these videos kind of like not very long, I've had to break it down to just put a few games from each system. But the ST, there's some cracking games here, 2 highly nostalgic ones. One game was part of a bundle which cost me next to nothing. It's crazy, sometimes you get lucky. I mean, speak to David Birdsall, he knows all about bloody luck, doesn't he? But yeah, sometimes you get lucky and pick up bundles which are just cheap. I think it would have been the last demo I ever played on my Atari ST before I sold it. And the thing that stood out for me for this game was the music, funny enough. I used to listen to it quite a lot. Bit of a sad thing to admit, but I did. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed listening to it. So therefore, it's highly nostalgic. And that game is 9 Lives. A game that is dirt cheap. I overpaid for this because I just wanted to get hold of it. I think I got it from retrogames.co.uk. I think it was about 10 quid. But if this game was up at auction, you'd be lucky to sell it for about £5. But again, it's a platformer, a really difficult one, because you have to push down on the joystick to judge the cat's jump. Now you can either like jump a little bit, or you can jump literally across the entire level. But there's so many hazards, it just makes the game bloody hard. But the animation is pretty cute, actually, I've got to say. I mean, they've spent a lot of time and effort on the game's graphics and the music. Got a little poster with the instructions. But in terms of how it's presented, it's really good. I just found it a very hard and very frustrating platformer. But the music, I'm going to leave the music at the end. I've got it on the Amiga, and the Amiga tune is really, really good. But the ST one, to be honest with you, it's one of the best AY chip tunes I've ever heard. I'm talking about the older stuff, nothing modern. Do you know what I mean? No modern remakes or whatever. But again, that's 9 Lives. I would recommend it, but it's friggin' hard. Next up is a game my mate had, and I bought Xenon 2, and he bought this one, and that's Cross Out. But yeah, if you listen to the introduction sequence on the Amiga, it does say Cross Out. I always called this game X Out, I must admit. The SD version, again, not like the Amiga version. It's missing the awesome soundtrack. But for an ST, it's got really good music. But compared to the Amiga, it's not. The gameplay itself is very good, like the Amiga, but it's just not as smooth. It's the same traits, really, across many ST games. It's the lack of music, or not as atmospheric music or sound. You usually got a smaller display area because it's got a bigger border. Usually the game isn't as smooth and less colourful. That's generally what happens with ST games. But to be honest with you, as a standout ST shooter, it's very good. I really liked it, even back in the day. Cracking little game. This one sent me back 20 quid. I think I got this again from retrogames.co.uk. All in nice condition as well. Absolutely fantastic condition. So yeah, again with the ST, there's not much I want to get. I've got a list of about 4 games. That's it. That's all I have. Again, all the nostalgia titles like the Spectrum I've now got in the collection. I think I'm missing 3. I've got one on the Amiga, except one of them, which I don't think got an Amiga release. But the ST collection is pretty much where it is. Now with the ST, I tend to like to buy games that didn't get released on the Amiga in the early years, whereas the Amiga's complete opposite, whereas games came out in the later years that never got an ST release. So both sides of the spectrum I'm quite interested in. Besides obviously the nostalgia titles and those desirable ones. Now this next game comes as part of a bundle. Guy listed it for £25. This game probably alone is worth £25. There's some cracking games in there, of which I sold off all the ones I didn't want. I think I kept 3. This one because I didn't realise it got a release on the ST. Another one because I'm after it on the Amiga. I can't get it for a decent price. And I kept another game which is quite common and quite cheap. And that game is Astro Marine Corps. Again, a run and gun. I never played this game before, to be honest. I played it quite recently for making this video, and I really enjoyed it, I've got to say. Got really good music. Now, I'm not sure how similar this is to the Amiga version. I was really chuffed to get this as part of that bundle. Absolutely amazing. I've had a few games from Dynamite before. I think I got After the War on the ST anyway, which is a game my friend had. I think I've had Narco Police before, which comes with its discs and instructions. But I've had Narco Police. They can, in their own, on their day, they can probably go for about 30–40 quid a pop, generally. But I've seen After the War sell recently on the ST for about £5. So it's a bit strange. It's a hit and miss. The Astro Marine Corps, especially in this kind of UK box, is very difficult to get. Not only on the ST but on the Amiga. Bloody hard to get. If you've never played it, give it a go. It's a decent run and gun. Right, this video is going on a bit here. One of my record-breaking lengthy pickup videos. It only usually lasts about 20 minutes. This one's going a bit too long. Right. Well, it is bloody Christmas, isn't it? Next up, Commodore Amiga. Now, some of these games, one is the best driving game, in my opinion, on the Commodore Amiga. One is the game I remember from an Amiga, I'm not sure it's Amiga Power or the one Amiga cover disc. And the other one I played during my Amiga Power Top 100 videos. So I'm going to show you that one first. I didn't see this one on eBay for the longest time. I know there's three of them on eBay. That is Scoobby Doo and Scrappy Doo, a decent little platformer, I've got to say. Got a really good soundtrack. The soundtrack, though, doesn't really suit the game, but it's very good nonetheless. Now, I was hunting this game for quite some time, and I went on to Hall of Light, cracking site, and on the site it said this game was rare. And when it came up, I think it came up for like £5 by it now, or something like that. Something stupid, so I snapped it up. Really chuffed. It's got damage to the actual case, which is no problem. The inlay's spot on, to be honest, so I just got to replace the case. But since then I've seen 2 more copies arrive on eBay. I think Retro Pixels has got one for like about a tenner. I think there's another one up there for less than that, so if you fancy it, get it. It's a really good platformer, got to say. So that's that one. The next one could be quite controversial because many people love the Lotus trilogy, especially the second one. This particular driving game, I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I played this one for flipping hours on end. That's Jaguar XJ220. I always thought I had this on the CD32, but obviously it didn't get released on the CD32. Must have been the Mega CD I was thinking of. But it's a cracking game, cracking music, great sense of speed. You can play 2 players, and the races actually feel like a really long race, especially some of the later ones. And you can repair the damage to your car. Don't get me wrong, the Lotus games are fantastic, especially the first and second ones. And I've got a soft spot for the third one, to be honest, even though it slows down a bit. But this is, for me, the definitive driving experience. Well, arcade driving experience, because there's better driving games than this. But from an arcade driving game, this is probably the best one. Yes, again, this one costs, surprisingly, about £15. Now, it's quite difficult to get, more difficult than you think. And when it comes up, it can go anything between 10 and 20 quid. Which is not a surprise, really, because it's not as common as the Lotus games, and they go for quite a bit as well, don't they? So there you go, manual. A bit dark over there, isn't it? Manual and discs. Very chuffed to have it in the collection, to be honest. So the final Amiga title This one was quite cheap because it can go for about 50 quid. And I recently lost out on buying the sequel, which went for about 60 or 70 euros. I can't remember. That's Niki Boom. A really pretty looking platformer. I've got to say, quite a French company. I can't pronounce the company's name. I think it's Microids, but I don't know how you pronounce that in French. But yeah, it's a cracking little platform. Again, another platformer. Played it for a little bit. I could have played it for a lot more, to be honest, because it's one of those games that kind of would draw me in. But I can't remember if it's this one or the second one that I played on that demo disc, because that's all I played it on. It might have been Niki 2. Oh, Niki Boom, I don't flip in, no. But yeah, I'd love to have the sequel to this as well. It looks fantastic. It reminds me graphically of Apidia in places, especially the first part of the game when you set off. It's got a similar sort of landscape, like just well drawn, really. Cracking little tune in the game as well. The character looks a bit funky. It looks like flipping Chucky or something. It looks evil. Evil kid. His belly hanging out. Bloody hell. But yeah, I would recommend getting, or playing it at least. Getting it is quite difficult. I was quite lucky to pick it up. I think I didn't pay a lot for it. I'm pretty sure it's 20-25 quid. Right. We're getting there. We're getting there. Next up is, if I can find them. Where the hell have I put those? It's amazing, isn't it, how you lose things? You get to a certain age and you just can't remember where anything goes anymore. How random is that? So after all that spinning around looking for these games, they're actually by my foot. Right, it's 3 Mega Drive games. Yeah, so I'm going to probably just show the games that I think are more interesting. None of these games that I'll be picking up will be any flipping blockbuster missing games that are really difficult to get hold of. They'll just be games that I sold. And a lot of the games I sold for about 20 to 30 pounds, so nothing overly expensive. So I'm not expecting to have any, well, trouble picking them up, to be honest. And the biggest barrier is going to be post, so I'll be hoping to get these games as parts of bundles, which obviously save me sort of £2.90 to £3.50, £2.90 to £3.90 in post. So the first one I got is a game I've been after for flipping ages and never got it, even when at the height of my Mega Drive collecting, and that's Micro Machines Military. Again, not a great Micro Machines fan, not a really huge fan of these top-down driving games, not this style anyway. Nice condition, no sun fading. I think this one set me back 27 quid, which I would say is probably the going rate for it. Which, to be honest with you, I think is a bit cheaper than it was back in the day. So it's all 3 or 4, all 4 Micro Machines games now in the collection. So that's one subset done. Pleased to have it. I played it for a little bit. I was rubbish at it. Couldn't even catch up with the other cars. So when I did, I got so excited I crashed. So yeah, again, nice to have it in the collection because it is one I've never had before. Whereas the next two, both games I've had before. The next one is Dynamite Headdy. It's a treasure game. Again, never really played it. I played it for a little bit whilst making this video. Can't remember what this cost me. Wasn't a lot. Maybe between 10 and 15 quid. Again, no discoloration. I did get rid of a hell of a lot of Blue Spine games. I didn't realise how many Blue Spine games actually sold. But it's nice to get them back slowly but surely into the collection. So again, another decent condition game in the proper case for the old clippy case for the old Blue Spines. Generally, I know a lot of games that I receive a Blue Spine game manually and don't have those proper clips. I usually have the ones at the top there, like the old Mega Drive games. So yeah, it's trying to get the games back in the right cases. It's always a bonus. Not played that game much. I played it for a little bit and I was horrendous. Now the next game is described as rare. I mean, I'm after this game actually on the Amiga. There's F1 on the Amiga, there's F1 Championship Edition, which is the more difficult to get. But every time I see it on eBay, it's generally overvalued. But there we go. A very good driving game. One of the finest, again, one of the finest races on the Amiga. Which was, I think, a sort of spiritual sequel to Vroom. Is it Lancor who made it? I can't remember. Again, no issues with the actual spine, no discoloration, but the sleeve does have water damage, which was described in the description. I just never flipping read it. So I will be looking for a replacement for this, because that sort of thing bugs me. Internally, yes, not bad. Again, overall conditions probably a 6. For the sleeve, yeah, the cart and the manual are okay, probably a 7 for the manual, 8 for the cart, but generally that sleeve will bug me. When you take the sleeve out, you can see the flipping damage. It's not good. But again, is it in the right case? I don't know. See what I mean? So again, this is Domark game, so you might have a different case for a Domark game than you do with a Sega game. Doesn't have the old clippy bit in it. That's it. That is it. That is my Boxing Day pickups I'm going to show you. Again, they date back from up to 6 months ago. I'll show you quickly one of the Ocean titles I picked up. I've got no footage for it because I never ever intend to use it. But this was a Facebook purchase. I think it was 18 quid all in, which is again about the going rate, and that's Laser Basic. So it literally just leaves me with Laser Compiler, which should be en route, and Tank. And hopefully 2020 will put to rest my Ocean collection for the ZX Spectrum, which kind of like, apart from the Hit Squad stuff, it's pretty much it. But that's it. I'll be back with another video quite soon because I want to do my sort of year in review. It sounds a bit poncy, but I want to look back at some of the stuff I've picked up over the last 12 months. The highlights for me, there's been a few. Especially early part of last year, up until about June really. I picked up some big grail titles for me. So I want to share them again, just recap. I'll probably do that in the new year. So thank you very much for sticking with this one. It's gone on for flipping ever. It's probably about double the length of a normal pickup video. So thank you very much for subscribing. I've had quite a few subscribers recently, which has been fantastic. And I'll see you guys again. So enjoy the rest of your Christmas. See you later on. Take care. Bye for now.